Good morning and welcome to the first step. We were just getting loosened up here and Nicholas started a Deo. We started singing to get the voice loose for the session. I need a drink of water. Daylight come and me won't go home. Yeah, so that's what this morning show is about, is practice. What I do in the morning to practice the first step of the day to help me on my way home. So this morning we woke up and we joined as a house again. And today's lesson is 338, which is I am affected only by my thoughts. Excuse me. And I can never hear that one too many times. If that is the truth, that I'm affected only by my thoughts, then why am I not constantly watching my thoughts? You know, that should be my eternal practice. And that's what my mornings start with, is to watch where my thoughts come in. And I'll go into a few of the sections. My previous shows I've talked about my morning practice. I might need a little trust here. And so we can go into a few of them today. You know, this morning, again, I was up at, this morning I was woken at about 4:20. And the temptation always comes in to stay in bed a little longer, or, you know, and the first activity of my mind is to try to organize the whole day. And it's like, no, let me just pray and invite in the Spirit. And so that has to be my first conscious thought as soon as it comes to me, like, Spirit, okay. And what that looks like lately is my journal. I have my journal, and I've been journaling it. Good morning, JC. Thank you for another day, you know, that stuff. And then a new thing that I implemented, which I shared a bit about, was as a result of this mystic writing retreat. And then upon return, Jackie shared with our whole community a video of the same practices and the things that actually came through her during that retreat. And one of them was she woke and heard lesson 151, which is, I believe, all things are the echoes of God's voice, or something close to that. And in that she talks about, she was sharing that, you know, we're handing over all these thoughts, you know, all the things that we have in our mind, the impure thoughts, whatever they are, to be purified by Spirit and handed back to us, you know, so that we can hear that voice. So I've been practicing this prayer in the morning of the Here I Am, Lord. And I love that song, and I don't know that in my experience it's been, you know, that here I am, Lord, it is I, Lord, I have heard you calling in the night. And for me lately, that here I am has been, here I am, here's all of me. Like, here, the small I, here's everything I have, here's all my impure thoughts. You know, the Course tells us that it's not that we will have no impure thoughts, just none that we will keep. It's not that I will have no desires, just none that I would control. So that here I am in the morning is like this. For me, it feels even when I sing the words or whatever it is, it's like, here's what I think I am. Here's what the thoughts I have. Here's all of me. First thing in the morning, and it's a humbling experience for me to even sing those little lyrics, and they're not very little, but and share that from a place, and that has been my journal as well. You know, I actually write them down, and that's a process for me to say, hey, here I am fully. And it was funny this morning when I actually did this, I had some thoughts, you know, or memories came back. And my friend Ricky has a beautiful show on Sundays called Humbled, and she shared about her experience that she had of, you know, this huge life transformation, mystical experience years ago. And she remembered the moment that she had a touch of specialness, or a special relationship. A partner touched her hand, and she remembered it as a choice almost, that a decision to return to this unreality type of, you know, to let go of that experience. And this morning when I was doing this Here I Am part, I was writing it, and a memory returned because, as I've shared on my other show, The Last Step, I experienced revelation, really the memory of God in 2014. You know, it's what you can call passing through the eye of the needle, whatever you want to call it. But it was really getting in touch with that memory of God in the mind. And I actually remember the moment that I went from, there was no Jeffrey or anything. I remember this abstract, whatever it is, there's no explanation, but I do remember this point. And it was the image of a girl at the time that I had held in specialness and her daughter that appeared to me. And then the own image of myself appeared. And it was like, but the image that appeared was this, what I thought of myself, this skinny, tattooed, broken tooth, like all the worst things I thought of myself came like rushing in. And it was like, oh my God, that's actually what, that was like, you know, in the Course they talk about the special relationship is actually the ego's, you know, greatest defense against the truth, and, you know, its secret weapon really. And then I saw it turned me into my own, what I thought of myself. So even all those things, when I remembered that this morning, is like, oh, I want to hand all those things over, this Here I Am, like what I actually think of myself, because there's such a deep unworthiness in the mind that I need to expose this over and over to actually share what it is, you know, I think down deep. So yeah, so that's been really, really helpful lately, certainly in my journaling, to remember that this Here I Am, here's all of me in that moment. And yeah, so that has been pretty predominant in the start of my mornings and my journaling, to really expose all that. And then the next step is, you know, handing over the day. And like I just said previously, like the mind's first activity for me is to start going into my day. Like literally, I have this to do, this to do, this to do, and it tries to generate this whole day. And, you know, I am a huge fan of lesson 135, which is, if I defend myself, I am attacked, I believe is the wording. And in that lesson, it talks about, I will not activate the past, organize the present, or plan the future. And I did a show once on planning. It was like, that is an actual defense. You know, that those things are mind wandering, organizing the present, planning the future. So in that section, there's a couple of paragraphs that I hold dear, and I read those and I recite them to myself in my mind, you know, and it helps me to not plan. It helps me to bring me back to the present moment. And you know, the first one is, a healed mind does not plan. You know, it carries out the plans it receives from listening to wisdom that is not its own. It waits until it has been taught what to do, then proceeds to do it. It does not rely on itself for anything except the adequacy to fulfill the plans assigned to it. So that's the ultimate goal. So what I have to do is watch my mind for where I'm trying to go ahead of myself. And the next paragraph is actually, a healed mind is relieved of the belief that it must plan. So it's actually a belief that I'm facing, that I have to plan, otherwise I won't be taken care of, or something will go wrong. All of that stuff is actually what's going on. So a healed mind is relieved of the belief that it must plan, although it cannot know the outcome which is best, the means by which it is achieved, nor how to recognize the problem that the plan was made to solve. So what does this look like practically for me? In the morning, I pray when I'm handing over my day, and then I ask to identify these three things. I ask, it's like, okay, help me now and throughout the day to identify when I think I know the outcome which is best, when I think I know the means by which it is achieved, and when I'm actually recognizing a problem out there on the screen. And by just identifying those things as they arise throughout the day, I'm allowed to return myself to my own mind and see lesson 79, recognize the real problem so that it can be solved. Because there's no problem out on the screen, out on the world, in the world of illusions and what we call problems. So when I can actually start my day with these prayers, I can actually stay with the presence of asking. So when I have that moment of, oh, there, I think I know the means, how I can do this, or whatever it is. And this has been crucial, and even building the new studio, and working with others, I don't feel like I make decisions there. It's at this moment of letting go of what I think is the best outcome, what I think the means, if there's a problem. As soon as I recognize in my own mind that I think I know something, that's the moment that I ask, oh no, I don't know, you tell me. And then sometimes it's my brother, sometimes it's Nicholas, who we're joining on this project, sometimes it's Dale and JC, or David and all the guys that are working on this project, or my friend Brandon, this angel that has been given to help us. He's got studio experience. It's like, no, I don't know. And then I actually ask. It's like, and then I can receive these answers when I can let go of those three things. So that's practically how I pray in the morning and handing over the day. And then this is part of that. I'm affected only by my thoughts, the defense, all of it is showing me, it's pointing to, I can just take the time and wait. That first paragraph I just recited, I can wait until I'm told what to do rather than thinking that I can do it. And all of this stuff is pointing to the rules for decision, and Jason had a show yesterday, and the show was beautiful, and it was about choice. And in the rules for decision, it talks about, I will make no decisions myself today. So that is a statement. I will make no decisions myself today. I'm either making them with spirit or the ego. So all I'm doing in the morning is getting present so that all throughout the day, when I have these moments, I can pray and I can get in touch with it. Because the problem is, I think I have choice. And Jason's show yesterday was great because it showed that we're being led by the unconscious mind and the deeper beliefs and desires and so forth. And it was if you didn't watch it, it's a show where they have a box, and the box actually reads the mind, and then you go to press the button. And it knows before you're going to press the button, and it's pointing towards basically a free will argument, And for me, when I had my experience years ago, it was as a result of seeing through addiction and recovery and drugs and alcohol and so forth that I always believed I was choosing. And so there was a moment where this shift in my mind came where it was like, oh, the lightning struck. And it was like, oh my God, I was never choosing. And in that moment, I questioned even deeper. I said, maybe I'm never choosing anything. You see, if you get into I'll open up the rules for decision here. Actually, let me go to another section first, because this idea of choice, another one of I have so many favorite lessons, is 138, and that's heaven is the decision I must make. And I love, first of all, the part that it says I must. I'm always pointing to those things too, that I must make this decision. There's only, it's inevitable, is what this is pointing to. It's like, it's inevitable that I'll make this decision. And the paragraph that I read here is another reminder for me each day. And this is a paragraph that's actually quoted in Purpose is the Only Choice, which is what all we're talking about here, is going with purpose. So, I need to be reminded that I think 1,000 choices are confronting me when there is really only one to make. And even this but seems to be a choice. Do not confuse myself with all the doubts that the myriad decisions would induce. I make but one, and when that one is made, I will perceive it was a choice. It was no choice at all. For truth is true and nothing else is true. There is no opposite to choose instead. There is no contradiction to the truth. So I read this in the morning, and I actually read Purpose is the Only Choice every couple months. It's one of our books that you can find at our livingmiracles.org site. You can go to our bookstore. And it's a smaller book that I read every couple months to remind me of this, to remind me of this paragraph, that I think there's 1,000 choices. And then that returns me to the rules for decision, that it's not actually that I'm doing anything. This is what the fear behind the video that Jason showed yesterday. You saw the host when he was at the box, if you did see it, and this guy he couldn't hit the button without it going off, the light. They're asking him to hit the button before the light went off, but it was reading his mind to know what he was going to do beforehand. Again, that he has no choice, no free will. And he started to get competitive and lean towards the box. And it's like, it's what we do in life when we think we have a choice. We tighten up and we try to go full steam at it, take the bull by the horns, all these expressions that are trying to do things ourselves rather than let go or surrender. And this is all that I really think that the rules of decision are doing, is pointing towards, it's not about the decision that I think I'm going to make. You know, they say choice is a decision based on what I believe, so it's being driven by the unconscious. But in these moments, it's really not about the choice. If the script is written and it's all unconscious, then what am I even worrying about? It's actually that I have to make sure that I'm aligned with spirit in everything that I do. That's the happy dream. That's stepping back of a healed mind does not plan, because I don't have the delusion that I can plan anything or that I can do anything. All I can do is choose. And the Course tells us the only choice is at the level of mind. So if I can start my day with this and really reinforce that in my mind, that, okay, whenever these things come up, and again, this is an invitation into really deep mind watching, to see these patterns that, of course, I'm going to try to think I know the outcome which is best, or I think I'm going to identify a problem. But the sooner I can identify that I'm doing it, I can return to the decision maker in my mind and say, oh, wait, this isn't even up to me. Spirit, what would you have me do? And then when I'm taught what to do, I proceed to do it. This is the get on with it, you know, the do or don't do. I mean, yeah, just get on with it type of thing. Like, it's not getting caught up in that. We will not be preoccupied with every step we take. We can actually listen and proceed. And that is actually the I need do nothing. Sounds like it's doing, but I'm not doing anything. I'm actually watching my mind and not listening to the wrong teacher and settling into that. So I'm going to read the introduction, because that's what I do each morning. And it reminds me of what I'm doing it for. The new beginning every morning now becomes the focus of my curriculum. The goal is clear, but now I need specific methods for attaining it. The speed by which it can be reached depends on one thing alone: my willingness to wake up at 4:20 and do this. And practice every step. You know, and the steps are this process in my mind. Even some of the things I'm talking about, which aren't in this section, but it's, I will make no decisions myself today. And then we'll go into the other part here, which I've shared many times, but I said last show that I've changed my phone has facial recognition, and I changed it so that I have to type in the word literally on my phone, practice, every day, every time, and it goes off like almost instantly. I think I have it set to 1 minute. And every time I pick it up, I have to pause and do what feelings would I experience? I'm choosing the feelings I experience. So, okay, what feelings do I want to have? What do I want to have happen to me? What experiences do I want to have? When I can keep that in awareness, it's like, it's amazing. The day reflects that. I'm not lost in the rest of it. So we said that willingness to practice every step, those little steps, each one with a little will help a little every time it is attempted. And together will these steps lead you from dreams of judgment to forgiving dreams and out of pain and fear. And even this morning, judgment. All things are actually judgment, even judging what I think, you know, those three things I just said, the means, you know, the outcome, the means, the problem. Those are all judgments in my mind. If I'm judging the outcome or the means by which it is achieved or the problem that I'm trying to solve, that's all a judgment in my own mind. That's all an I know. So I'm trying to undo that. So the sooner I can recognize those and hand them over and ask, the better off my day will be, and I can enjoy, as he's going to tell me here. They are not new to you, these steps, these habits, but they are more ideas than rules of thought to you as yet. So now we need to practice them a while, until they are rules by which I live. We seek to make them habits now. so you will have them ready for whatever need. So yeah, I really just wanted to share those things this morning and thank. Yeah, I was thanking Nicholas and Zach, who are here in the studio with me this morning, and I felt all this love for them. This prayer I've had recently, morning and night, is to experience full appreciation. Like, that's one of the, when I set the rules, I say the feelings I want to have is this: the things I want to have happen to me and the things I would experience. And then I actually say things like, I want to experience full appreciation, because the Course tells me it's the one gift due my brother. So I want to experience that. So what happens? I'm actually not just given full appreciation in the moment. I'm actually shown where I don't appreciate. And I can identify, ooh, and then I can choose again in those moments. It's the reversal of the whole thought system that I've come identified with, to engaging with the Holy Spirit and developing that relationship. So it was great, because before the show, it was like the counter was counting down and we were just, singing and, really in the joy. And I said, thank you. I can't do any of this without you. I can't do this, anything without you, without the salvation of the world is in all of my brothers and sisters. And so even this show, like the opportunity to do this each morning, has refined my practice. It's like a gift for me. This is all for me. I'm teaching myself here so that I can do this more. The more people that come into this community that I'm linked up with and I can share, that I was able to share this stuff from Dan years ago at the temple and different ones that came in that I would start to share, it strengthened in me so much more. So I urge you, anything that you start to do and that you feel empowered by, when you feel connected to God, to Spirit, share those things. Share them with your group, with your mother, with your friends, because that actually makes you feel so much better. And it reminds me, everything I say to someone else, I'm saying to myself, and I remember, ooh, I said that to Dan or Nicholas or this. And it's amazing. That was the other practice that I had with my journaling. And whenever I would remember an experience that I had in the past that was shameful or whatever, I would settle in and I would write into my journal, what would I say to that younger self? And whatever that moment was, I would write it down, because time is simultaneous. So I'm speaking to myself in the moment, and I could feel it when I would talk, and I'd be like, a moment of shame or whatever it was, it would be, you don't have to believe those thoughts, our lesson for today. And when I'm speaking to that in my own mind, I'm actually creating this connection with Spirit, because then I imagine my future self, JC, that's why I call JC in my book, speaking to me. And then in the moment when those patterns that may not be as strong as they were in the memory show up again in my mind, it's like, oh, I remember that thought that I was saying. Same thing as speaking to a friend or sharing these things. So yeah, I guess I just wanted to share that this morning. I have another thing that perhaps I'll share with you on Thursday, but it's part of my nighttime practice that I've implemented and has been really helpful. So again, thank you for showing up for this morning for 20 minutes or so, and I will see you again on Thursday, and have a great day and make no decisions.